Hi guys, my name is Janelle Irving and I'm with Cypress and Spruce, and today we're going to be making some blueberry, cardamom, cinnamon bark scones. We're going to be using two different oils on our Vitality line. The cinnamon bark oil, which has a obvious cinnamon flavor but also has a much sweeter flavor than, say, a dry cinnamon that you would add to your baking normally. And then the cardamom has a very citrusy spice flavor, I would say. Okay, so I think both of those oils pair really well with blueberries, and so we're going to do a combination of these three today, and we're going to start with 3 cups of flour. I'm going to be using einkorn flour. This is my favorite flour to use when I'm baking for my family. It has the health benefits that, say, a whole wheat or a whole grain flour has, but it doesn't have that amount of gluten, so it doesn't leave you with that like heavy or bloated feeling. And even people who are gluten intolerant can sometimes tolerate this flour, so I encourage you to give it a try. It's one of the products from Young Living. I didn't already say that. Okay, so I have 3 cups of flour, but of course you can use any flour that you want. I just like to try to keep even our treats as healthy as possible. And I'm going to be using coconut sugar today. You can use, like I said, whatever kind of sugar you want, just like the flour, you can use whatever kind you want. I love coconut sugar. It's not quite as sweet, so sometimes add a little bit more if a recipe calls for sugar, but it's fairly equivalent. Sometimes I use raw sugar, like a raw organic sugar. I just try to avoid like a bleached white sugar whenever I can. Okay, so add a 1/3 cup of that. Just add a little bit. Okay. It doesn't have to be a perfectly flat 1/3 cup, kind of a heaping 1/3 cup of that coconut sugar. Okay. Next, I'm going to add a whole tablespoon of baking powder. Okay. And then last of all, 1/2 teaspoon of Himalayan pink salt. I'm using salted butter in this recipe, so I'm just using 1/2 teaspoon. If you're using unsalted butter, then I would say use about 1 teaspoon. Okay, so just going to whisk these dry ingredients together really fast. Make sure there's no clumps of sugar in there. And that's it. Okay, next I'm going to be adding my blueberries. This is about 1.5 cups. Anywhere from 1.5 to 2 cups is a good amount. I like a lot of blueberries. Okay. And then we'll be adding our butter next. I'm going to be using Kerrygold butter today. This has a very rich flavor. I love the flavor of this versus just, butter you buy at the grocery store. And it's made from milk from grass-fed cows. So it's a little bit better for you. Okay, so be adding that first, and then I'll be adding our milk. It calls for 12 tablespoons of butter. Go ahead and cut that up and keep it chilled in the refrigerator. I've already cut mine up, so I'm just going to dump that in here. At this point, you would take a pastry cutter and just cut that in until you've kind of got a fine meal, like a pea-size amount or pea-size of pieces of butter in there, kind of like if you're doing a pie pastry or a tart or something like that. And so instead of getting in there and doing that, I already have it done just to save a little bit of time. But you would just kind of get that into a nice meal, if you will, and then you would add in your milk. And I'm using almond milk today. You can use any type of milk or milk substitute that you want to use. Another good one would be coconut milk, but obviously that would impart a coconut flavor. But before you add your milk, and you would add 1 drop of cinnamon bark Vitality and 2 drops of the cardamom. Give that a little whisk, make sure the oil is mixed in, and then pour that in here. And then when I make it, I just use my hands and get it all mixed up. I love to use my hands. I feel like it's just a little bit more efficient, and I can make sure it's just to the consistency that I like. Now, if it's a little bit sticky, this is where you would add just a little bit more flour or a little bit more milk. If it's a little bit too dry, add a little bit more milk. Okay, so once I mix it all up, and mine is a little bit sticky, I would say, what you're going to want to do, put a little flour on my hands, is take that and kind of just pat it and form it into a nice round ball. You don't want to overmix it. You want to see like pieces of butter throughout. This is what makes it nice and flaky and moist. Overmixed food is, overmixed baked goods is never a good thing. You end up with tough and dry. Okay, so just do this. You got it into a ball and you put it down on your surface. You're going to want to form it into a 6-inch round. About like that. Your knife, get a little flour on your knife, and just cut it like you're cutting pizza. 6 little triangles. So this is half of the dough it makes. I went ahead and mixed all of the dough and divided it into 2 portions and made the 6-inch round and cut 6 pieces. And I already have that on the tray over here. So the recipe actually makes 12 altogether. Let's move some of these over. Add these on. I love how when you bake scones, they start out as triangles and they kind of just take on a different shape as they bake. And these seem fairly small, but these actually expand and grow quite a bit. So it might be wise to grab a larger tray because these will grow. After I get these on here, I like to add some of this Turbinado raw sugar. Just give it a little extra sweetness, a little crunch. And you'll bake these at 375 for about 20-25 minutes, give or take. And here are the freshly baked ones from out of the oven. Put them right down here on this flour. Okay, so see how they did grow and expand quite a bit? Grab a little plate and put one on here. Break it apart. So it's still nice and moist and not dry at all, which is the way I like it. So that's it. Thank you guys for joining me today. I hope to make a lot of more videos with recipes using the vitality oils because I just love to cook with them. And I incorporate it into so many of my recipes. It's so simple and it imparts such a great flavor. And so yeah, thanks guys.